We have to leave Harvard because of the coronavirus. We're not the only ones. There's several universities that have requested their students to leave campus. We totally understand. As a graduating senior, it's actually quite sad because, you know, it would have been nice to see classmates who I may never see again, but of course, global epidemics and pandemics global health takes far more priority than that. But there's a few things that are just still really up in the air, which is really, really scary. One is, we have to move out in a few days. Like, leave, go, forever. There's a chance graduation might happen, there's a chance it might not happen, we have no idea. For someone like me, who is a US citizen, and I also have a permanent home in India because I went to middle and high school there. I also have family in the US. It's fairly easy for me to move off campus. I take my stuff, I put it in storage, I can afford to get a ticket to fly to India. I can live with family here if I need to. I fly there, I'm okay. For many students that is not the case, and that's what is really concerning me. We'll find out more information and I will update this video if as and when we find out more information, but for a lot of people, a college campus, particularly one like this, is a safe haven. For them, they don't have safe homes to go back to, or they're seeking asylum, or many other situations that just make it very difficult to not have this place be home. So my heart really, really goes out to them and to anybody, whether you're in a university or not, or in a work situation or not, experiencing that. Secondly, it is really tough for students who are international, particularly those who are not US citizens and have to come back for work with their work visas and their situations, coming back. I mean, everybody's scrambling and trying to figure out stuff, and I'm confident they will figure out a solution, but it is a scary time. And if we do have classes, which we are going to because we have to graduate, what does that look like? How do we get people who are in different parts of the world to come in? Do we stay up at 2 a.m. to do a Zoom class? Again, classes are important, but it is also, you know, faculty's jobs and spaces and ways of working that are at stake. It is safety for a large en masse student body that is at stake, so totally understand where everyone's coming from. But it is scary. It is a scary time, and I kind of want to show you some of my favorite places at Harvard because we have to move off and don't know if we can come back. So I'm gonna spend the rest of this video showing you some of my favorite places, one of which is my room. My room has been a beautiful safe haven this year, but I will walk around and show you some of my favorite places at Harvard that I was very grateful to have be a part of my life. So I'll show you that through this video, and to those of you who might be affected by this situation globally, my heart goes out to you. Please, 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 please seek information and don't rely on just hearsay and rumors. Media is great, but seek official information through the CDC, through the WHO, and stay safe, stay healthy, be with your loved ones in this troubling time, and farewell Harvard. It's also given me time to reflect on lessons that I've learned, and I just wanted to share with you some of the biggest lessons. So here are the 5 biggest lessons that I've learned from my time at Harvard. Lesson number 1, you cannot have it all. When anybody describes to me what it's like being at Harvard, the way I describe the opportunity of being here is it's like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Unlike a fixed price menu where you have a set of things that you can do, there's a limited set of opportunities, whether that might be classes or extracurriculars or anything. A place like Harvard is vast and immense, and there's so much going on here. There's so much wealth of knowledge of just individuals. It's amazing, and you really can't have it all. There's absolutely no way, just like you would go to a buffet, if you try everything in the first few sections, you get so full that you can't have anything else. So you kind of have to figure out what's going on. You have to poke around, you know, and figure out what the opportunities are. And the converse of that is nobody hands them to you. There's a lot of opportunity here, but you really have to go seek it out for yourself with regard to what you want to do and how you want to take advantage of it. So it's both a beautiful and a self-learning curve where you have all these options, everything you can imagine, but you really have to be intentional, and you really have to go look for things when you want to seek out an opportunity. So that's number one, is you can't have it all. And I think that's so true for life too. You know, you can't have it all in life. So it's really, it teaches you how to prioritize and to learn how to say yes and no to opportunities and what that looks like. That's lesson number one. Lesson number two is just the power of diversity. Just the beauty of diversity in so many aspects. I am friends with, live among people who are just so diverse across, you know, racial, ethnic, socioeconomic, religious, just cultural, just so many different backgrounds, and that in itself is so beautiful. There was no other time in my life that I was going to be surrounded by as much concentrated diversity in just a, you know, couple mile radius as I was now. I could literally walk outside my dorm and bump into people who have patents to their name, people who are from such different backgrounds to me, and I just think that's so beautiful and such an honor to be able to share space and hold space with people like that. For me, I've lived half my life between India and the US, and I was raised Hindu, and Hinduism is a very take as you will religion, or a lot of it's mixed with culture. And so for me, there have been a lot of traditions that, you know, have been family traditions or things that I've had an opportunity to partake in that exist here on this campus, and I've been able to take friends from totally different backgrounds to that and show them certain customs that I grew up with, and that's amazing. Some of my closest friends are from, you know, Jewish, Arab, Christian, and that's just on the religious front. So many different ethnicities and backgrounds, conservative, not conservative, you know, and I've had the opportunity to take part in the Sabbath or Shabbat dinners. I've had the opportunity to go to different types of, whether it's Catholic or Protestant, faith-based traditions. I've had the opportunity to go to different faiths, and as somebody, I wouldn't call myself particularly religious, but the fact that I've been able to go into these spaces as a passive observer and still be accepted is not true in the real world in many, many places, and that's not a privilege that I took lightly. I think being able to, as you can hear, people are just trying to hang out with each other and enjoy their last few moments, as they totally should. But what I was saying is, it's such a privilege to be able to be able to partake in somebody else's cultural, religious, or other space, whether that's, you know, dance forms, art forms, whatever that might be, or just those events, and feel welcomed. And in this increasingly divisive world, that is not always the case. So I feel very grateful to have been able to do that, and to me that got me thinking about how do you build tradition beyond when you leave the safe haven of a diverse institution like this? How do you bring people into being able to experience that from different backgrounds, and do you create tradition with friends and family? So those are just questions I've been thinking of, but I feel so grateful to have been able to be a part of what has been safe spaces to other people, and part of their upbringing, and being able to experience it in the form of being a passive observer and participant. And it's taught me so much about just a lot of backgrounds and faiths and walks of life, so I'm very grateful for that. I would say the third biggest lesson that I've learned here is recognizing privilege. With this whole coronavirus situation, there are students for whom dropping a lot of money on a flight or being able to move out immediately is very possible. And I am one of those students for whom I have that opportunity and I have that possibility, but that is not the case for a lot of folks. And that is just one small piece, but I think in being on such a diverse campus where you have opportunities and you have access, there's huge privilege in that, and it's not to be taken lightly. It's not to be taken lightly, the privilege of the name that Harvard gives you. You say Harvard and people suddenly value your worth in certain work situations in a way that they wouldn't in others, which there's good things to that, and that is problematic in some ways, but it's a blessing and it's a privilege that shouldn't be taken lightly. It is such a privilege to be in a space where you can learn and where your primary focus is learning. For me, as somebody who's pursuing a career in tandem with my education, I think I've learned how to do school, but I've also learned not to take my education for granted, because it's been a very active choice for me as a singer, as an artist, as a creator. I don't theoretically need a higher education, but having the opportunity to pursue formal education at an institution like this is a real privilege. And with that privilege comes power, with that privilege comes responsibility, and I think it's really, really important to hold that space and to understand it. And part of that privilege includes just the talent that a place like this attracts. I mean, some of the people we learn with and from, whether it's peers or professors, are just amazing, amazing human beings, and being surrounded by that wealth of knowledge and power and just that opportunity to learn and be a sponge and grow is amazing. It's amazing, and I feel very lucky. I think the fourth biggest lesson I learned is that the hard part about being at Harvard is actually getting in, which isn't to say that classes and things you do here are not difficult. It's just because the acceptance rate is so low, and because it's honestly such a crapshoot getting in. For our class of 1,600, there were definitely 1,600 other applicants who were equally deserving, who could have very easily taken our spots. A lot of it's a matter of luck, a lot of it's a matter of right time, right place, who different people have different circumstances, what they're looking for in a class. Like very, very much they're always looking to fill a class, right? So let's say swim team, they don't need as many people, they won't be as attracted to having as many swimmers. Or last year you had so many people major in computer science that they wanted more social science kids this year, so it really depends. But when you come here, I think a lot of folks who have the opportunity to and choose to go to competitive institutions like this, if they're able, and again, it's a privilege to have Harvard provide financial aid, full rides to folks who cannot afford it. When you have the opportunity to come to a place like this, it is often, you often have to work very hard to get in, academically and competitively, and so for a lot of folks, they end up being the type A students that you might think are the nerds or whatever it is. The picture you might have of a Harvard student is actually the picture of the high schooler they were trying to get in. And then when they get in, some people still feel like they have to be part of the rat race or be very competitive with one another, especially if you're doing something which is fairly competitive, such as being pre-med, where your grades matter to an extreme degree. But for many others, I think a place like this, because you're allowed to grow into your own, you know, it's for anyone, no matter what college you're at, it's your first time for many folks away from family, being independent and responsible for a lot of things in your life, being surrounded by just so many peers from different backgrounds. It's a lot, and it's not easy to adjust, but I think it gives you a different take on life, sense of life, and you grow in many ways that you may not have been conditioned to while trying to get in. So it comes with its challenges, but I feel like it's slightly easier and more of a growing experience than the process it takes to get in. So that would be my fourth learning. And my fifth learning would be, really, it's all about the people. I've made some of my closest friends here, as I mentioned before, just from such different backgrounds. There's incredible people here, ranging from, of course, students, faculty, and peers to the staff, to people you meet, to the security guards. It's amazing, you know. Being at an institution is incredible. It's a gift. It's a privilege, and it's an experience I will always cherish, you know. I think it's tough knowing that we won't have the opportunity to come back in the same way, and we're not the only ones. This is happening to students across the country, across the world. Especially, you know, knowing as a graduating class, you won't see your peers anymore. So that's tough, but I'm so grateful for these past 4 years and what I've learned and been able to gain. I've grown so much as a person. I've taken classes that have just opened my mind to the world, and I travel a lot for what I do. I perform so frequently. I'm gone a lot, but being able to go and come back helps me see, I think, the beauty of this place even more. It's hard to reflect on something because when you're in it, you're all consumed by it, but today was very, very meta. This whole day was very meta in you know, going around and seeing all the places that have made a place feel like home, and knowing that is no longer going to be a reality, and that it was going to have an expiration date, right? All experiences do, but sooner than we had anticipated it, which is been interesting. But it's almost been an out-of-body experience, looking at things and reminiscing on places and people and memories and attachments, and so it's a great lesson moving forward. And as you know, as more developments happen with the situation globally, I'm praying and hoping for people's safety and security globally, especially those who are in difficult situations, who are immunocompromised. And I'm praying for teachers. It's not just colleges, it's schools, and it's a tough time for a lot of industries. So sending strength and love. I just wanted to reflect a little bit on what my experience has been, and I hope it's helpful in some way. If you have any questions, let me know. And of course, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I'm going to be sharing some experiences from my Harvard experience, from the Harvard and Berklee experience, and just some lessons and things through the next, what I eat in a day, things like that. So through the next couple months. So if you have any questions about what it's really like to be at Harvard or whatever you might have, feel free to ask me in the comments below. If you have questions about balancing a career and balancing education at the same time, whatever it is, I'm always here, happy to answer. My name is Avanti Nagral, and I will see you soon. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, bell icon, all that good jazz, and I'll see you soon.